Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
I thank the member for Ryan. It seems we have bipartisan support for this bill. The question is the bill be read a second time, and I call the member for Lindsay.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise today in support of the Enhancing Online Safety Bill for Children 2014. Deputy Speaker, I'd like to note the children in the upstairs glass gallery here today. The bill we are discussing today is all about you. It's about protecting you. It's about protecting your friends online. When speaking to so many principals and headmasters of schools within my electorate of Lindsay, overwhelmingly they cite that the rise in cyberbullying as one of the greatest issues that they now see in so many school communities. Many have commented that the change in children's behaviour over the years, for instance, in the past it was quite easy for kids to pass notes. For school principals, it was quite easy for them to control the environment inside the schoolyard. Now they're looking after environments outside the schoolyard. Much of cyberbullying takes place outside of the schoolyard. Deputy Speaker, parents want to know, in fact parents need to know, that their children are safe. This bill will see the establishment of a Children's E-Safety Commissioner and a two-tiered system for the rapid removal of bullying material from large social media services. For those who post bullying material, the Commissioner will be given powers to deal with them also, and with a clear hierarchy to deal with the issue. It also sends a message to kids that bullying has consequences. It sends a flag that making fun of others is not just harmless, it hurts. So many parents in my electorate of Lindsay are telling me this is an important step in bringing cyberbullying back under control. People like mother of two, Debbie O'Connor, who actually works in the social media sphere and owns a social media business. I think that the online safety bill is not just a great idea, but a necessity. I note that the majority of the focus is on children, as it should be. I have limited my son to Instagram and Kik, as I'm concerned about how many platforms he could be involved in and how I could manage the monitoring of them. I have a rule with him that he needs to hand over his iPad whenever I ask him to do spot checks on both apps. I seem to be far more vigilant than many other parents who tend to turn a blind eye as it's all too hard and confusing for them. Debbie sees that part of her job as a mother is social media management. Going on to state, I know how hurtful and damaging fleeting comments on social media can be. You only need to read the comments on Facebook, feeds from different news stations or pop culture like Mamma Mia to realise that people on social media are talking about will probably never have the guts to say to their face. My view when it comes to social media is that it's like leaving your child alone in a crowded shopping centre. You'd always want to know where they are and who they are with. The same goes for social media. I tell my son that if he's not prepared to have put it on a billboard on a highway, then he must not post it. For some reason, some kids and parents think that posting to social media is private and it allows them to say and do things that they would never dare say in public. I keep telling my son that once it's posted, it is accessible forever, and anyone to see whenever they want to. All of these accounts are set to private, so he only has access to those he knows. However, a recent incident had a number of us parents concerned when a school friend had her identity duplicated on Instagram. Her girls' names and images were used to create a new account. Her friends thought that she had just started a new account and instantly started following it and allowed her access into her accounts until inappropriate content started being posted. A friend notified the girl and her mother immediately pulled her Instagram account down. This is not an isolated incident, and parents and children should have a place to go where they can report this type of activity. Debbie said, I fully support this bill as I think that it is more accessibility to the internet, more apps and mobile devices that is the problem, and it's only getting bigger and bigger. And it's not only Debbie that sees the problem. In fact, in 2011, students from 23 Sydney schools were in Lindsay holding a conference on cyberbullying. The keynote speaker, Professor Donna Cross, Director of Edith Cowan University's Children's Health Promotion Research Centre, told that conference that the issue was not only affecting 1 in 10 Australian children, but the problem was in fact growing. She went on to say that while traditional forms of bullying, such as physical violence, were decreasing, the incidence of cyberbullying was increasing at a rate of 2 to 3% a year. She cites part of the reason for this growth is because there's a perception of that the bullies can hide, the power to bully anonymously. And my fear is that growth in cyberbullying could see incidences double. Across the UK, police commands put a rate of cyberbullying at 1 in 5. 1 in 5 in the UK. That's phenomenal. While a study last year, the University of New South Wales cited a report titled Research on Youth Exposure to and Management of Cyberbullying Incidents in Australia found, and I quote, "The estimated number of children and young people aged 8 to 17 who have been victims of cyberbullying in Australia is around 463,000, of whom 365,000 were at a peak age of 10 to 15. And to the children in the top gallery, that's your age group." Former Family Court of Australia Chief Justice Alastair Nicholson, speaking at a 2013 conference on the issue, said, and I quote, "The current laws provided little guidance about how bullying should be handled." He went on to say, "The legal duties of schools, teachers, parents and guardians, as well as others in positions of authority, is not currently clear. Appointing a Children's E-Safety Commissioner will also help focus the issue. It will also be a specific authority to deal with cyberbullying, and most importantly, give authorities a clear approach on how the issue will be dealt with." Chris Webster, who has lectured to schools right across Western Sydney, notes, "Cyberbullying refers the bully through information and communication technologies. Put simply, bullying is for the 21st century using email, text messages and the internet. Recent polls have shown that 1/3 of teenagers have had mean, threatening or embarrassing things said about them online. It is the same kind of insidious effects as the traditional form of bullying, turning children away from school, friendships, and in tragic instances, life itself." Chris notes that from his research, the best way to combat cyberbullying is awareness of the issue itself. Take out of the children's bedroom the computer and bring cyberbullying into wider conversation within the family. Deputy Speaker, I believe a dedicated Children's E-Safety Commissioner will help lift the profile of this issue. I think there are some programs in the community and some good work being done, but the evidence would suggest those programs and that the work needs to support of a dedicated body, as a Children's E-Safety Commissioner will provide. Some of that work has been undertaken by the Australian Communications and Media Authority, through its CyberSmart outreach program. It has been running since 2009. They visit schools and have, so far, met with an estimated 1 million students, parents and teachers. Part of their work is in providing presentations on how to recognise cyberbullying and, more importantly, how to stay safe online. They also provide schools with lesson plans, videos and classroom activities, and a very worthwhile program. The Children's E-Safety Commissioner will still be within the ACMA. However, this bill provides for an independent statutory office to be created within the organisation. In simple terms, rather than being a small branch within the ACMA, it will be afforded its own department specifically focused on cyberbullying issues. And it will also have teeth, along with $7.5 million in funding to ensure that this organisation can perform its charter. Part of that is the power to demand offending material to be taken down by the service providers and the power to issue a summons to offenders. As a body, it will be equipped to handle complaints and provide better outcomes for those involved. Deputy Speaker, Penrith City Council is very active in trying to combat cyberbullying in our region. In fact, every year they run programs for Safer Internet Day on the 11th of February. In general terms, they work with local police on the issue, but they also offer resources to explain issues from cyberbullying to sexting, digital contacts, also known in social networking, identification theft and illegal content. And according to the local police, and I quote, "Often cyberbullying escalates from conflicts that begin in the school environment. The content of cyberbullying messages are taunting and insulting and often result with similar messages being sent back. While these matters cause a significant amount of stress and anxiety for the victims and parents, the actions rarely amount to a criminal offence." Now, I think that will be always the case. At the end of the day, you are dealing with adolescent minds. You are dealing with kids who act first and think later. Often the taunting takes place out of spite and without thinking through the consequences. A Children's E-Safety Commissioner will act as a new circuit breaker, a body who has the legal binding power to confront cyberbullies head-on and show them the seriousness of their actions. Somebody who can force cyberbullies to appropriately respond to their actions, and a body who can take the issue to the federal court if the cyberbully refuses to cooperate. A new commissioner can also reinforce a police measure to combat the issue and, in particular, reaffirm police advice that if children are being bullied online or by mobile phone, they should 1. Tell their parents, 2. Tell the site, 3. Tell the school, and 4. Tell the police if it escalates to threats of violence. Locally, schools have been active in trying to combat cyberbullying. For instance, Nepean High. They recently developed a stage play, Cyberbile, by playwright Alana Valentine, about the online bullies and their victims. It was made into an event and performed at the Jones Sutherland Centre in Penrith. They have identified that cyberbullying can start with something as small as someone chatting online about how someone dresses, speaks, or even moves. And at its worst, it can lead to suicide. A local Year 11 dancer in the play, Charlotte Campbell, said at the time, "It's very powerful and upfront about issues that society doesn't mention." Deputy Speaker, again, the emphasis why the appointment of the Independent Child E-Safety Commissioner is so important. It provides the chance to get this onto the table and out into the open. This is a great piece of legislation as it provides certainty and capitalises on the excellent work already carried out by authorities. It is important to strengthen measures to fight cyberbullying. This bill is about helping children to find their way through this problem and to give people so much help and to provide hope to families. Thank you.
I thank the member for Lindsay. The question is that this bill be now read